You would not believe the debacle I have had in the past 30 minutes trying to work out this hotel room. Hello everyone, welcome to another video. My name is Christy. I am soon to be a debut author and I am in Melbourne today on a weekend trip with my best friend Casey, and I came to the hotel room early because she's off doing work stuff, because I wanted to check in, because I got up at 3:45 a.m. this morning. Maybe it's my brain because I'm very tired. Couldn't work out how to turn the lights on. I went searching. Here's the thing, that lamp was on. He tricked me behind this mirror, sneaky mirror. What's upsetting about this is that I have actually stayed in this hotel before, searching the room because I couldn't work out how to turn the bathroom light on. Here's the thing, there's no light switch for the bathroom light because it's automatic. I was looking at this thing that said makeup room and I was like, is that like a euphemism for bathroom? Like kind of like how powder room is a euphemism for bathroom? So I kept pressing it and I was like, why isn't it working? It wasn't makeup room. It said make up room. Not this is where you do your makeup. It has been a ridiculous few weeks, and you guys should know by now that next year, my debut novel, Theodora's Tea Shop, is going to be published. It has been an insane year and a half since I signed with my literary agent. It has been an insane 5 years since I started writing that novel, and also the last 5 months that I've been waiting since I got the original offer until now has been insane. It's been such a beautiful opportunity to continue learning patience. Somehow, my novel, Theodora's Tea Shop, which is an adult fantasy novel, a 1920s inspired novel about two women named Theodora and Dot. Theodora's a witch who works in a tea shop. The tea shop is this kind of underground syndicate peddling magic in a city where magic is illegal, and Dot is from a very small seaside town. She travels to this city to find the witch Theodora because she wants to learn magic. And the story is eldritch and a little bit cozy and a little bit gothic, and it's atmospheric, and it's a master and apprentice story, and it's got found families in it, and it's set in a city where there are demons and spirits, and I love this city, which is called Aliaster. I even drew a map for the book. I have spent the last 5 years-ish on this book, and it is the best thing that I have ever made, and I'm still a little bit in shock that we got a deal, and I'm still kind of reeling from the outcome of waiting so long. And if you watched the submission video, you will know that that journey of getting the book deal was quite tumultuous and emotional for me. My mental health was awful last year, like absolutely awful. Querying really took a really big emotional toll on me, and so the emotional hangover from querying I took into editing the novel, and I worked really hard on the edits last year in 2024, and I think the longer and longer it took to edit the book, the more concerned I was that it wasn't going to get a book deal. And basically by the end there, I was both really stressed about the book. I was so terrified that I'd spent so many years on something that wouldn't get a deal, and I also was struggling with some health stuff because my iron was really bad, and if you don't know, low iron causes fatigue, dizziness, brain fog. I've had chronic iron problems since I was a teenager basically, and when it's really bad, like everything is colored by it, so I just felt really flat, lethargic, concentrating was hard, I felt very sad all the time. It was just is very unpleasant, and got an iron infusion that made me feel better, but still the process was really tumultuous last year. And so it's been wild getting the deal finally in December, and now we're here, and I've just been waiting, and contract negotiation has taken such a long time, and so we've been dealing with time zones because I'm in Australia and my head publisher is also in Australia, but every time we send an email it goes from me to my agent in New York City to the international agent also in New York City to the international agency in London, and then back to Australia. Every time we send an email it's circumnavigating the globe. This stuff just took a really long time. However, I could not be happier with my publisher. I was so blown away by their enthusiasm. Sitting in that meeting with them was so surreal. I had meetings with 3 of the biggest publishers in Australia, and the novel is coming out in Australia, New Zealand, the UK, and the Commonwealth regions, excluding Canada, in mid-2026, which actually isn't that far away. I can finally tell you guys that, oh my god, we did it. Like, it's actually happening. So to circle back, why am I in Melbourne? You see, the thing is that I booked this trip months ago, like back in January, had no idea what was going on. And then what actually happened is we also ended up with an opportunity to go back to Japan. Tyler, we had to base everything around his work. We wanted to go in the spring. Cherry blossom season is so expensive to travel in Japan. And, you know, part of the way we've been able to travel so much is by doing it smartly and like using points and traveling in off seasons. And the way it kind of aligned was that we decided to go in May, went to northern Japan around the Tohoku region. And so we went to Sendai, which I keep going to call Saitama. I know they're obviously very different. It's just my brain is silly. Sendai. And then we also went to Yamadera, which is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. It was gorgeous. We went to Matsushima, which is really beautiful. We then headed up to Morioka. We went to this amazing like artisan place called the Morioka Handiworks Village, where people were making traditional crafts like ironware pots and wooden toys and sweets and those kinds of things. And we got a bunch of pottery. We also went to Koiwai Farm, where I rode a horse for the first time, and we did archery, and that was really beautiful. I loved that. It was all with the view of Mount Iwate behind us, and I just kept thinking, like, if this was Mount Fuji, this place would be over touristed as hell. Like, its tourism around Tokyo and Kyoto is insane at the moment. And so if you want to go on a trip to Japan, strongly recommend northern Japan. It's gorgeous, and also people really, really appreciate the tourism. We also went to Akita Prefecture. We went to a place called Kakunodate, which is a samurai town, which was lovely. We went up to Aomori, which is famous for apples. We had apple juice. We did a whole bunch of things. And then what happened? We were in the Qantas lounge because, as I said, we do the flight points thing. Every now and then we earn an invitation to like one of the Qantas lounges. It feels way too bougie for us. Like, I get imposter syndrome going in there because it's all like rich politicians and journalists and stuff, because we went into the Sydney Qantas lounge, and Tyler and I have been talking for quite a while about getting a puppy. And if you know me at all, if you've watched my channel for a long time, you will know that I have desperately wanted a dog for like 10 years. And we've been talking about it a lot for many, many years. This is a decision that has been made over a long period of time. However, we were in the Qantas lounge in Sydney, and basically we made the commitment to get this little puppy, and oh my God, we adopted a dog, guys. We've had her for 6 days. Yes, hello, I'm in Melbourne. Again, this trip was booked back in January. I didn't realize we were going to be getting a puppy this week, but everything, the stars just aligned in this particular way, and sometimes life just happens this way and you just make it work. We also had a rental inspection today, technically, and so we were up cleaning and trying to like do all this stuff around a 9-week-old puppy. But yeah, her name is Mabel, and she is the most beautiful little creature I've ever met in my life. I love her serious little face. She does this thing under our coffee table where she does like a little army crawl towards us, and soon she's going to grow up and she's going to be too big to do that, and I'm already emotional about that. We live in an apartment building and we rent, and so, you know, there was all of this complexity around the breed of dog we were allowed to get, the size, the weight. There's not only the rental laws in South Australia, but also the strata agreement of the building, and all of this stuff. A lot of consideration had to be taken, and then we had to get approval, and so it was a stressful few days trying to work out if we could even do this. But we now have a puppy and we love her so much, and now I'm in Melbourne looking at pictures of my puppy back home. And then that, plus the publishing deal, plus the fact that in about a year's time my novel in about a year's time my novel is going to be on bookshelves in a number of different regions, and that is just the most insane privilege, and I feel so fucking grateful and happy and excited. And yes, I'm gonna stop mind dumping on all of you now. We're in Melbourne. I might vlog a couple little things. We're gonna be going to a show tonight called Hadestown. We're gonna go out to like an Italian restaurant. I have some friends of Casey's who I'm gonna meet tonight, who live here in Melbourne, and we've got a weekend of like art galleries and museums, and I'm gonna go to the State Library of Victoria. We're gonna do a little bit of work on Project Spiegel Tent, and yeah, I'm gonna film a few more snippets of this weekend in Melbourne, and maybe I will come back to you once the contract is officially signed. Hello. It's very dark here. Let me grab some more lighting. Lots of chaos going on. We've had some really big life transitions recently. Little Miss Mabel over here. Okay, one moment. Good girl, Mabel. Good girl, darling. This is my daughter, Mabel. This is her first time appearing on camera. How are you, Mabel? She just woke up from her sleep. She has this beautiful little serious face. Sleepy little Mabel is now chewing her toys very sleepily. But anyway, it's been a really big time, and I'm gonna shut that door. I don't really know what to feel. I felt such boundless overwhelm trying to raise a little puppy in a 1-bedroom apartment where we're terrified of barking affecting our neighbors and therefore us getting kicked out. We've been in this 1-bedroom apartment for 6.5 years. That was never the plan. Here we are now raising a very small fluffy Mabel. She's 11 weeks old today, and she has been beautiful, but also a handful. She's fine. The more she sleeps, the more chilled out she is, and as soon as we can take her for walks, because puppies, until they're fully vaccinated, cannot go for walks. And again, 1-bedroom apartment, no garden, you're kind of playing on hard mode, but she is a dream and I love her with all of my heart. And anyway, here is the final publishing deal. Sorry. I haven't slept in like, how long have we had Mabel? Almost 3 weeks? I haven't slept in 3 weeks. I have thoroughly read through this whole thing again. I didn't expect it to make that noise. We did it, and now I have a lot of video editing to suddenly do, and I'm gonna have edits to do on this novel. We've got a few things to organize. I am so sick of not being able to say anything, and on Patreon, I actually said a few days ago, oh, an announcement's coming, because I was just so fed up with waiting. But yeah, life is going really well, and I feel so happy, so relieved, so content. I need to keep going on Spiegeltent. I need to make that book into the book I have in my head. It's not quite there yet. I'm gonna get there. It's gonna be fine. But what an absolute journey this has been. Hello everyone, it is now at last present day. I am filming this on the day that you're watching this, if you're watching it on the day that it gets uploaded. Mabel is now 14 weeks old, she's almost 15 weeks old. She is asleep in her little bed over here. She is almost fully vaccinated. We are almost ready to take her for walks, but she's been loving her sling. We walked down to AvCon today because Tyler's there showing his game that he's currently working on, which is a football game. It's really cool and retro and fun, and I walked with him and Mabel over there, and then just walked around the outskirts of the farmer's market this morning. It was very cute, and now she's having a big old nap. The sling has been really good for getting her desensitized to cars and other dogs and people running, and she is so cute. A lot of people don't think she's real because she looks like a little teddy bear. Literally, she's so incredibly cute. But anyway, what a messy life update video. I basically kept trying to film this, and then the announcement kept getting pushed back, and then things kept changing, and life kept updating. But anyway, the novel is coming out next year on July 28th. It's available for pre-order, and very soon I'm going to be doing the final copy edits for Theodora's Tea Shop. So that's going to be draft 8. I think for all of these edits that we're going to be doing with the publisher, I'm just going to say draft 8.1, draft 8.2. It's just going to be draft 8 is the final draft-ish of the novel. It's been a really interesting, busy time. I had to get the submission video done. That's the biggest video that I've ever made. It took 3 weeks to edit, and then because I was so behind with everything else, it was I had to quickly do all of my Patreon posts. So I uploaded a video on my process for plotting and how I write novels to Patreon, and then I had to quickly do my taxes, and then I came down with a stomach bug, and then Mabel on top of everything. It's just been a ridiculous time, but so full of joy and love. Finally had the headspace to order a new camera because this guy is incredibly broken. The viewfinder is just hanging on, and every time I turn it on I have to reset the date. In terms of the second half of 2025, what that looks like for me is probably going to be finishing Theodora's Tea Shop, doing the last of the edits, the copy edits, all of that kind of thing. And then I want to do draft 2 of Project Spiegeltent. I have another new novel, or I don't know yet if it's a short story or if it's a novel. We'll see how we go, but basically Mabel has inspired something, so we will do a little bit of work on that, and then I have a really big ambitious idea that I've been kicking around with for the last couple of years that I need to plot. I'm excited for that novel, but I'm also very intimidated by it, so we're just going to focus on the next two. But also with the way my brain works, I'm kind of constantly brewing on stories, like figuring out what the narrative structure is going to be as I'm working on these other projects. But yes, basically everything is great and exciting, and life is amazing at the moment, and we're in this beautiful new phase of our lives as puppy parents. And again, the response to the submission video has been insane. It's been really moving. I cannot believe the overwhelmingly positive response to that video and to the announcements, and to everyone who's pre-ordered the book. Thank you so incredibly much. Pre-orders are really, really important for authors. It's this massive litmus test for like how well the book is going to do, and so it's really, really helpful. So if you want to pre-order the book, please do feel free to do that. You can add it on Goodreads, you can add it on Storygraph, and also I'm going to be doing a Q&A on publishing, writing, basically anything you guys want to ask. I'm going to try and do a Q&A for my next video, so please feel free to go hop over to Instagram, because I'll put up that Q&A the second I post this video, and just answer a bunch of your questions. So if you want to know how any of this works, if I didn't cover anything, if anything was confusing to you, please feel free to go and pop into that Q&A, and I'll try and answer as many questions as possible. But anyway, I'm going to stop rambling now. I'm going to get back to my Sunday. I'm going to do some writing. I'm maybe going to read a book and spend some time playing with Mabel once she wakes back up again. And yeah, thank you also to everyone over on Patreon for supporting my videos over on Patreon. I have a whole bunch of bonus content, bonus videos, our book club, our Discord server, announcements, all those kinds of things happen over on Patreon. So if you'd like to check out Patreon, please feel free to go ahead and do that. Please don't forget to pop over to Instagram and submit questions to our Q&A on publishing and all that kind of thing. Take care, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.